Ahoy hoy, this is Druss here, and welcome back to the Darwin Reforged server for another plot review. And today I'm going to be doing a plot review by Solertree, and it's on plots 1, so this is a member level plot, and this is Solar Submission, which I believe passed again on its first submission. Now Solar himself, I think, though I may be mistaken, had previous experience building on the CR mod pack, the Conquest Reforged mod pack, on the Raven server, though I may be wrong, but certainly it does show that, or it does appear that he has had previous experience, because this plot is incredibly detailed and really just very immersive and very atmospheric. So we start on a bridge, and I'm just going to quickly whiz over it just to illustrate that that is indeed what we're standing on. And as we go over the bridge, we encounter just a little cart with some freight upon it, and we are going to walk under what appear to be the town wall gates, and at the gates there is just a little seat for somebody taking admissions and presumably tax, and there's a little area for soldiers to stand in, little alcoves. Now there's a portcullis, and again it's nicely illustrated given that it's a plots 1, so there's limited space, but you can see that there's a mechanism for the portcullis to move up and down upon, and holes in the ground for the portcullis to sink into when it is fully down. Now Solar has built this plot with the intention of the idea that the houses expand beyond the plot borders, so what you have is decorations that suggest the houses will keep on going, even though we are limited by what we see. We have to imagine that they carry on. Now unfortunately, in just this one part here, it creates what I call a void that you can see onto other plots. Now these sometimes just can't be avoided, given the fact that the plots 1 are relatively small, that sometimes you do end up with those, and they do take away from the immersion of the plot to some degree, but by and large Solar has done an absolutely fantastic job in enclosing the plot and giving the impression that you're in this huge town despite the fact that you're not, you know. So as I said, there are sometimes that these plot voids, as I call them, are unavoidable, but Solar really mitigated that on the vast majority of his plot, and the plot itself is full of life. Solar, like XT in the plot review I did last time, has really created a lot of effort in making small details like this little flower cellar here by the side of the road, just to bring life to the town and bring life to his build. And you can tell that he's put a huge amount of effort into every aspect of his build, from the likes of, he has down pipes here to bring drainage down into a sewer, and then there are things like the exterior here beside the town hall. There is a bell, so it's a bell tower as well, and just looks lovely. Everything has, like, the town itself is full of professions and shops. So for the likes of this one, it's a drapery or a clothes shop, and again you just go inside and it's patently obvious what it is. You know, you have an armour stand that's meant to be a mannequin and a full length mirror, lots of blocks that are meant to illustrate cloth, and it's really well put together sewing machine that utilizes a towel rack, a hook and a wheel just to create this little device, and it looks really wonderful. Again, just some storage. Now the houses on this plot are very small, again because he squeezed so much into the actual plot space itself, but they don't lack for that. I certainly don't think I'd be capable of bringing such life to houses that are quite so small. Like, every house is immaculately detailed and has just signs of life and just done very, very well altogether. The entire town, for example, as you look down the street here, as I said, he's created an area that blocks off the border of the plot by creating a little hill downwards that winds around the town and just is incredibly atmospheric, excuse me. And Engelfert's Book Emporium. So again, a small little bookshop, quite cramped, but again, very, very cozy feel. It doesn't feel too much. It feels just right. And full of quotes like this one from here. A bookshop is just a genteel black hole that knows how to read. Pratchett. So again, memories of Rincewind as I read that. There's detail down to the ground level where there are some gaps in the road, the appearance of shadowing, and the cobblestone is just dirty in places. It looks very, very well, and I love this. I'm a sucker for places that remind me of the shambles in Yorkshire, or the town of York even, and this certainly does that, where you have houses that are relatively close together, giving a cramped feel, and this town does that. Now, full disclosure, with regards to this plot, there's very little chance I'm going to be able to discover all its secrets and all its decoration, because I think I'd be here, well, for hours if I did that. So I'm just going to take a quick wander. This wasn't going to be the longest video ever in the first place, so again, just really, really nice detail. Merle's very clean bunkhouse. What I like about this plot is that despite the fact he has actually indicated with shop signs what every shop is, that they're so well decorated that you don't need that. I could essentially not narrate on this video and I could just wander around in silence, and you would still be able to ascertain what every profession is just by the decoration within it, because Soler has done that good a job. It's obvious this is a wash house. You have the suds coming up from the sink, the tub, and you know, just a water from a washboard and clothes hang, that sort of thing. And then just again, little living space cramped above that. And we can wander down to the town again. Just very, very nice use of building out right the way to the edge of the plot. And a clockmaker's, and he's used some of the machine clocks as to show the mechanism of the clock movement, which I really like. I have never, to my memory, built a clock on Conquest Reforged. Something I probably ought to at least try doing at least once, but given what I've seen here, I may leave it to experts like Soler. And so much little cramped areas and carpenters or something here. It really is chock full of detail, and as I said, little narrow alleyways, signs of life, detail around every corner. For example, here you've got nets because you're out by the harbour, and so this is where logically the fishermen would be, you know, and the little dock going out onto a tiny little boat that, for the size of it, is just very, very well built, you know. The river itself, again, signs of life, the likes of the ducks and the seagulls, and just the facade of the town and the edifices just looks really, really wonderful. right down to the little sewer area, and underneath he hasn't skimped on detail on the riverbed. There are signs of life. There are lobster pots, for example. There's debris and junk that have been discarded by the townspeople, and again, it would have been a shame if he had left that out, but he hasn't. So again, just attention to detail around every corner. This here is the bridge we initially started upon, and over here we have an older bridge that has clearly fallen apart or has collapsed, and I assume it's an older bridge given the fact that towards the bottom of it it's quite slimy. There's signs that it's a bit more aged, and they're clearly repairing it. And I like this. They have a little gate blocking the area off from bystanders to fall into the river. You know, it's again a lovely little detail. And some workmen where they have their lunch when they're not busy building the bridge again or rebuilding the bridge again. So we have been here, and again his actual exteriors are just really very, very nice. It's not always apparent how nice his exteriors are. It's only when you look at them closely, and the only reason that it's not apparent is because the houses are very, very close together, that you have that. You know, you've got the likes of this here. It's a way up into a house and a way up into another house, and down here you've got what appears to be either a cellar or the entrance to the sewer, and you don't know until you actually explore and discover it for yourself, and you discover that it is indeed a cellar, a lovely wine cellar with a barrel that's fallen open, the remnants of a small bit of wine on the floor, and a mop, because presumably the remainder has been mopped up. So again, just detail upon detail upon detail that brings this plot to life. And we could continue to explore every single house, but again it would take far too long, and just everything is done nicely. I'll have to find my way out now, which may be difficult in and of itself. But there we have it. I do recommend that you come and visit this plot yourself if you are on the Darwin Reforged server. It's worth a visit, and given the amount of plots ones that are built upon, they can't always be easy to find. So, and given that, as far as I'm aware, there isn't a warp to this, because I don't think Solar has yet achieved his expert level, so he won't have been able to set a warp. So what I will do is I will leave instructions as to how to find Solar's plots and how to find this plot if you are on Darwin, and you can come and visit yourself. I'm just noticing as well that there are some nice little statues or gargoyles in the little alcoves there to the tower. Again, a lovely little detail. So I suppose at this point I shall leave it there. I've done enough to illustrate just how fantastic this plot is, and hopefully again to showcase just how great a mod pack Conquest Reforged is, because it allows for a far greater level of detail in your buildings and will allow your buildings come to life a lot more if you only give it a try. And if you do decide to give it a try, we'd be more than happy to welcome to the Darwin Reforged server. We'd love to see you there. I shall leave the details of how to get onto the Darwin Reforged server as well in the description. So until the next time, stay frosty and goodbye.